And the top of the evening to you on a Friday night, this final night of January. The first month of 2025 is in the books.
That's just stupid, dumb fool.
That's not supposed to be. That's not supposed to be heard on my own show. Wait a minute. I'm talking to myself. Where did that come from? Are you kidding me? Did I just call myself dumb foolery? Do I need to put him in timeout right there? I think I need to put him in timeout.
That's just stupid, dumb foolery.
That's pretty bad when you talk to yourself and call yourself dumb foolery. We're gonna have to work on that. It is the McFiles. It's a Friday night. Looks like we got a rambunctious crowd already in the house tonight. We're gonna take your questions a little bit later tonight. We got a lot of breaking news again. I don't mean this to be funny. It's not funny. We really do have a tragic situation coming out of Philadelphia tonight. It's unbelievable the pace and the speed that we are seeing these events occur in our country. President Trump's only been in office 10 days, and he is systematically dismantling. He is truly, we're going to get to this tonight, dismantling the deep state. He is. I mean, there is a house cleaning of house cleanings going on in the nation's capital tonight, starting with the FBI, some of these security agencies, these attorney generals, and it's good. It's long overdue. I've not got a problem with it. We're going to talk about that with you tonight. Really nothing new to report on the cabinet positions. Doug Burgum got approved overwhelmingly for his post, 79 to 18, I think, for the Department of Commerce. And he's the former governor of North Dakota. Good guy. And but breaking story tonight is out of Philadelphia. I'm going to actually pull up our Telegram room. If you're on our Telegram room, I really encourage, if you're not a member of the Telegram room, please visit us at the McFiles War Room and find us there. We've got a channel room, which basically we post the videos that YouTube takes down. Is what we become. We need to populate that a little bit better. But the War Room is where we keep up with our news. Now we're going to be developing a website here this year for these kind of stories, and where you can go and get the headlines every day, just like we did. We're going to probably resurrect the Smoky Mountain Journal. May call it something different. It's going to be part of what we're going to be doing, the Chris McDonald News Hour or the McDonald News Hour. We don't have a full name for that just yet, but on K-Star Radio, which will start here in about a week or so, we'll be on in the afternoons doing these headlines. And I'm really excited about that. But our format of the show is going to be shifting more to what we're doing now, doing a news show at night, headlines of the day, commentary. We'll still have guests from time to time. It's just so hard to get people on a regular basis, and our pool of people, and it's nothing against them, they're busy, and it will, I think, be good for the future of the network to be more news-based and so forth. But we will talk to people and have interviews when we can. We got Helen Q coming up here next week. Helen actually is a Chinese conservative, lives in New York. She's visiting family overseas right now, and she's got a lot of things to say about what's going on in her state and the country. And I'm looking forward to having her next week. We've got Marcia Montenegro coming up next week. We're going to have possibly Alice Linehan. Brad Johnson should be back with us. Hopefully Eric Karen will definitely be back with us next week. Got Branko sort of lurking in the wings out there, and we're going to get him back on. So it's going to be a good month ahead. We've had a good month in January, but I want to just get right to this headline story because we got a lot to talk about beyond that tonight. I'm going to pull the headline up. This is actually, we're going to read the story off of, I think it's Breitbart or Gateway Pundit 1. We'll just do the Gateway Pundit. And then we got something, there's another breaking story tonight about the situation with the... hang on just a second. Let's do this. Now, your screen's going to go back on me just for a second because we're going to basically put up the story here from Gateway Pundit to tell you what happened in Philadelphia tonight for those of you that don't know. And just please hold your comments, folks. Well, they've already taken it down. That's interesting. Let's see here. Let me see here. Let's try that again. And let's do this. And not sure why it's not being found. Let's try that again. Let's see if this will do it. There we go. Breaking story tonight. A plane in Philadelphia explodes after crashing into a row of houses. And also, this was in the northeast section of town near a mall there. And this was reported around 6 o'clock tonight. A small plane has crashed into multiple homes in Philadelphia, causing a massive explosion and multiple casualties. We know of at least 6. This was a medical transport plane. Nick Sorto reported on X, the plane has just crashed into a row of houses in Philadelphia. A massive fire has broken out and casualties are being reported. Huge emergency response underway. This is one of the videos that Nick caught. We've got several other videos to show you this right here, but watch this right here. If we can. Whoops, it's not going to do that on that one. Let me lock this page in. Maybe it'll do it this way. Nope, not going to do it. All right. Well, we're going to show you the video of this. There's the ball of fire that basically, there we go. You can see this now. This is going to show you. Let's get off the ad here. That's not what we're here to show you. Let me skip that ad. Let me skip this ad too. I can't help Gateway Pundit. They have to advertise, I guess. Hang on just a second. Here we go. This is the explosion that took place when the plane hit the ground. And they were basically arguing on Fox a little bit whether it was done, if the plane crashed before it hit, or the plane caught fire before, or whatever. And this is another video. And pardon all the ads. Let me get off this. But this is what we're seeing right now tonight, and that's some of the chaos in Philadelphia. And I'm going to get rid of that. Gateway Pundits should know better than do that. They have all these ads. But anyway, we're going to show you some more video of that. But our prayers, first of all, with these families. What we do know tonight, this plane was headed from Philadelphia to Springfield, Missouri. There was medical equipment on. There was 2 doctors, 2 patients, and the pilot and a co-pilot, I understand. It was small, but it was... the media reported it as a small aircraft. This thing was 45 feet long and 50 feet wide, so it was not a small aircraft. It's a pretty good size aircraft in itself. But evidently, whoever was on that plane was going to Springfield for medical treatment. And from what I gathered tonight from some of the medical people, that these planes are basically housed with oxygen tanks and others. So whatever happened, whether it was in the air before it crashed or that explosion happened when it crashed, it all ended in a ball of fire. Now, there have been reports, and we cannot confirm this, of casualties on the ground. Several cars were hit. There was homes that were hit. We do not have any number on that. The official total right now is 6, and that is the people on the plane. I'm sure that number will change. And we will follow this story throughout the weekend and update you on our X page and also on our YouTube channel. But we're sorry to hear about all this. This is the second. This is actually the second plane crash that Sean Duffy has had to deal with in 2 days, or 3 days, and it just. I tell you what, aren't you glad that it's Sean Duffy and not Pete Buttigieg, who we're going to let you know how President Trump feels about him tonight. And it's just a language warning. Some of you, if you're an adult in the House, you can handle this. If you're not, you may want to sit this one out. Because President Trump just let it all hang out. And to show you how bored the media is today, that's what they were making a big deal of, was his language as it relates to Pete Buttigieg. And if I'd have been President Trump, I probably would have used another word. And it might not have been as nice as what he did. So I don't care what he says about these ex-cabinet officials. He's absolutely right. And I love what Karoline Leavitt said today. She said he's just saying what we're all thinking. And I would argue we're probably thinking a little bit worse than even what he said. But it's 2 plane crashes in 3 days. And I know it's going to raise a lot of questions about the safety. This don't seem to be anything other than a terrible tragedy in our skies. Thank God no other planes were involved. It was just not like it was in D.C. when we had a helicopter. We're going to talk about that a little bit more tonight. I do want to dispel a rumor that circulated on the internet. There was a X post that went out claiming that the pilot of the helicopter was a transgender woman. That is absolutely false. That's at least what we know. And the other thing is that I'm going to post something from Charlie Stamp tonight, or Shamp. A lot of these prophetic voices are using this to further their YouTube channels and Telegram. It's pathetic. It is disgraceful. We've had over nearly 100 people get killed in a very tragic accident. This is not the time to be worried about your likes and subscribers and your views on YouTube and Telegram and X. And it's why they mock us in the church. This kind of stuff is why the world basically mocks us. And it's not the face show tonight, and I may deal with this a little bit Sunday, but it's really pathetic that people take advantage of these tragedies to further their existence while they're on the internet. And it's pathetic. We got a human cost of life. Now, having said that, there are more questions tonight than answers as it relates to the DC crash. I am not going to sit here and tell you that I know all of them. I don't. I'm not so sure I know the answers to the questions that are out there and just in general terms, because there's a lot of things that are still being investigated tonight. There are a lot of things that people are assuming that are wrong, and people always assume things that are wrong, and you know what the word assume means. It makes something out of you and me when we assume. And we try to stay away from that on this network as much as we can. If we give you our opinion, we'll tell you this is our opinion. It's not the facts. It's just Chris's view, Chris's opinion, and Chris's opinion has been known to be wrong before. And Chris has always come on here and told you, hey, I messed that up. I didn't get that one right when my opinion has been wrong, and I'm man enough to do it. I've got a lot more courage than most of these YouTubers do, and these idiot prophets, when they get things wrong, they can't even have the courage to come on and tell people they got something wrong. They got to dig down. But I don't want to get off on that tonight. But my point is there is a lot of stuff out there circulating, as I knew there would be. And this story about the female pilot surfaced this morning. I saw it, and I wasn't sure about it. I sent it to my brother. I sent it to other people. And she actually, the lady in question, put a video out tonight basically saying she wasn't the one behind that helicopter. So all I can tell you tonight is please be careful what you're listening to. We do not traffic in rumor. We do not traffic in innuendo as far as putting stuff out there. We may tell you it's out there, but if we know it's not to be true, we'll tell you that too. But the biggest thing that I think that we all are asking tonight, and this has been the sort of the people I've talked to surrounding this situation. It has been basically how that helicopter flew such in a straight line, it seemed, for such a period of time, because it was about a minute or 2 minutes, maybe three. It looked like maybe a minute or 2 minutes at least that they would have been able to see that plane in their view. And that's the most perplexing thing tonight, is why the air controller tower did not at least scream into the mic. I mean, this was one of those times you just throw protocol out the door and say, hey, you're about to hit a plane, pull away, pull off, pull to the left, pull to the right. There's none of that. I still do not know, and I do not have an answer for this, how they could not have seen that plane. I don't have an answer for you for that. And that always leads to a lot of speculation. That leads to things, and that leads to people saying, well, there's more to this than we can understand. Well, that's a given tonight. That's pretty much a given. We're going to follow this story on out next week. I think as the days go on, let Sean Duffy do his job. We'll get to the bottom of it. I think President Trump is not dumb to the fact that there were some failures with the air traffic controller. There were some failures with the helicopter. It was the helicopter hitting the plane. I've been sort of perplexed by the media. Not that I should be. I should get used to this by now. But the media has basically framed this as the plane hit the helicopter. That is not so. That plane did not hit the helicopter. The helicopter hit the plane. And that's just the facts. And that I do know. It wasn't the other way around. That plane was landing and that helicopter slammed right into it from the bottom. And the plane, you know, was not told to look for the helicopter. And there's just so many, again, failures of whatever. And the stupid media, all they're concerned about is Trump's DEI hires and his firing and stopping all this DEI crap and nonsense and trying to make him out to be the fault of this. This is not Donald Trump's fault, folks. And look, you know, you're going to start laying blame at Trump. He's been in office, what, 9 days? Joe Biden and his Buttigieg has been in office for 4 years. And there is no telling how low a quality of people we have working or had working in that area of our government and the FAA. There's been reports out that there were at least 2 near misses at Reagan Airport within the last week. I know there was one the night before. There's a breaking story we had last night, and I didn't really get to the bottom of that one totally today. That's why I don't really have a lot to share with you more than what we do know. There was an incident, evidently. The plane crash happened Wednesday night. The collision was Tuesday or Monday, late Monday night into Tuesday. There was another incident that there was a near miss of the same thing almost happening again. Josh Hawley was on Jesse last night, and I like Josh Hawley. And he had a lot to say about why he's questioning why there are even training exercises around the airport, period. I'm with Josh. That's not the place to be putting rookie pilots behind helicopters and flying them near airplanes that are taking off and landing. That's just common sense. And I get to use my famous saying for the first time tonight. That's just
elementary, my dear Watson.
Just elementary, my dear Watson. You don't put rookies behind planes in the middle of an airport. So anyway, that's what we know at this point. That's what we know at this point tonight, and so forth. I do want to show you the videos that we've got tonight. Very troubling. And this is from the plane crash. Let me get to our downloads here, and we'll show you what we got tonight. This is the site of the Philadelphia crash tonight. It looks like a missile, folks. Honestly, it looks like a missile. That when you look at this thing, this is the plane right here. Watch this. There we go. There we go. All righty. Bear with me just 1 second, okay? Bear with me one. My apologies there. I got a pet, and my pet went crazy. I thought my pet went crazy. I was getting worse. It spooked her, and I was getting ready to. When are we going to have a guest on the show tonight? But anyway, this is terrible right here. This happened in Philadelphia tonight around 6 o'clock, and there's been 6 casualties. Here's another view of this from that same perspective. And this is tonight. Look at that. That is something out of a movie right there. That is something out of a movie. And very tragic situation tonight. By the way, this is, I think, from the mid-air collision the other night.
In this video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen.
All right, there it is right there.
The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river.
Dinesh D'Souza is asking
in a second
question.
video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
And that is from Wednesday night. This other was from tonight. That's 2, folks. That's 2 in 3 days. Dinesh D'Souza, our good friend, we wish we could get him back on. He's asking the question, I think a lot of us are tonight, why do we not know who the helicopter pilot was? And the Army has refused to release that name as far as we know right now. I want you to look at this, though, because this is what has been perplexing to me. And it's evident in this video that that helicopter hit that plane underneath. And
this video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
Very tragic situation. I'm gonna do this tonight in our YouTube channel. I am actually going to do a poll, and I'm going to ask you a very serious question, and you can read the question, and then you can chime in. And it's a very simple question that says, do you think this was deliberate? I think that's the million-dollar question that people are asking. I think that's a fair question. I know that we don't know that. I think, again, the more we get into this investigation, the more we will see what's going on. I think that there's enough blame to go around with the air traffic controller. Definitely there was blame with the helicopter. They just didn't see the plane. But it takes on a whole new discussion if there was something that just was more than just a mechanical failure or whatever. They just didn't see it. And folks, again, I look at the thing tonight in Philadelphia. They're still investigating that. That just happened a few hours ago. And that's just starting. And I feel for Sean Duffy tonight. There's just something about the trajectory of this helicopter that has bothered me for 2 days now. I want you to look at this again and listen to the reporter. Watch this.
This video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
And I've got the Facebook folks chiming in, and I'll say their responses. And again, if you don't believe it's deliberate, that's fine. You can feel that way. And I'm not saying I do fully. I think there's a question that's legitimately should be asked. I hope it wasn't. I hope it was an accident. I hope that maybe it was mechanical failure. But there was just something about that trajectory that has not set well with me. And again, I pray that I'm wrong. My gut is wrong about this. This is the more pressing matter tonight. These are the 14 kids, sadly, that died. That is the skating team that was on Flight 5342, American Airlines, when it crashed into that helicopter. See how the media, the helicopter crashed into the plane. The helicopter crashed into the plane. That's the way I look at it. But our prayers for these kids' families tonight. Precious group of kids there. A lot of them are young. I was reading a story. We posted some stories from the New York Post. There was a man who texted his wife just probably just minutes before they landed. She was on the plane. She texted him and said, "We're about to land." And, of course, he never heard from her again. And there's so many stories like that out there. And these were real people that was on that plane. These were people just like us. And that's the human part of this that is so hard to swallow tonight. And again, our prayers for these families. And I'm just asking this question simply out of curiosity to see how you feel. And I'm sure it's going to be a mixed bag of opinion, and that's fine because, folks, I hope that everything they've told us is true, that it's just an accident, and we find out why, whether it was mechanical, whether it was a pilot error, whether they were just truly just blinded by something and they just didn't see that plane, and that's fine. But 67 people are dead as a result of that, and we've not had this, and that's the thing I've been hearing today too a lot. We've not had one of these kind of situations in America in many, many decades. This has shook the psyche. And then we have another plane crash tonight where another 6 people are killed. I mean, we've had a rough week in aviation. And poor Sean Duffy, he's had to deal with this as Department of Transportation Secretary. And it's just a lot to chew on tonight and a lot to think about. But, just curious what you think. We're going to get to your questions in a minute. Let me get my glasses on, and so forth. This is Josh Hawley last night on Jesse, and I want you to listen to what he has to say about this because it's very intriguing. And let me see if I can find that video. He asks a serious question. He deals with he deals with what. I think we're all asking is why was there, the situation going on with the training helicopters. Maybe I downloaded it, maybe I didn't. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. We'll pick that up next week. I'm sorry about that. This is, let's see here. What do we want to go to from now? This is Josh Hawley on something else, though. This is Josh Hawley on the Tulsi Gabbard and the Kash Patel hearings yesterday. Interesting stuff. Roll the tape. Roll the tape.
Tell me about a conversation you had today with the people investigating this horrific plane chopper crash. What do we know?
Well, the thing that really struck me, I talked to the head of the NTSB today, and got what the latest on their investigation as it begins to unfold here. Here's what really struck me, Jesse, is that helicopter flight patterns overlay commercial flight patterns in the Reagan National Airport area. What's that mean? It means military helicopters are frequently, I was told, in the same airspace as commercial jetliners, including at 9 p.m. at night, as happened last night. I think we've got to ask ourselves, is that really a good idea? I mean, do we really want overlapping flight patterns? Do we really want all of that crowded airspace jammed in there like that? I think we've got to ask ourselves, how are we best keeping our civilians safe as they come in on these planes? A lot to learn. The NTSB is just starting their investigation, but we need answers, Jesse. And I want to make clear to everybody in authority here, the American public deserves to know exactly what happened, and we deserve to know it sooner rather than later.
And these families need to know that. They were warned about these identical flight paths long before this happened Wednesday night. And, it's like everything else in our country. When these things happen, the fallout is 10 times worse when we find out that warnings were ignored, that people had raised concerns about this, they were ignored. And then when we have the tragedy, it's like everybody's in shock. And then the politicizing of it takes place, which is just ugly. And but it's an interesting thing, and I'm glad Josh Hawley brought it up last night. He was talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and we're going to go to that in a minute. But I want you to listen to this about a minute. I want you to listen to it again, just to understand. This is, I think, what all of us are thinking.
Tell me about a conversation you had today with the people investigating this horrific plane chopper crash. What do we know?
Well, the thing that really struck me, I talked to the head of the NTSB today, and got what the latest on their investigation as it begins to unfold here. Here's what really struck me, Jesse, is that helicopter flight patterns overlay commercial flight patterns in the Reagan National Airport area. What's that mean? It means military helicopters are frequently, I was told, in the same airspace as commercial jetliners, including at 9 p.m. at night, as happened last night. I think we've got to ask ourselves, is that really a good idea? I mean, do we really want overlapping flight patterns? Do we really want all of that crowded airspace jammed in there like that? I think we've got to ask ourselves, how are we best keeping our civilians safe as they come in on these planes. A lot to learn. The NTSB is just starting their investigation, but we need answers, Jesse. And I want to make clear to everybody in authority here, the American public deserves to know exactly what happened, and we deserve to know it sooner rather than later.
Very well said. And that is Josh Hawley. He's going to stay on top of that, I'm sure. And we will too. And I'm seeing the comments, folks, and I agree with most of the sentiment that I'm seeing. There are a lot of questions. It is suspicious. There are safeguards. Bob, your question sort of sticks out because our cars have safeguards. When we are, most cars, especially these new ones, are equipped with anti-collision mechanisms that if we get too close to the guy in front of us, that red light starts flashing and you feel a vibration, your car shakes. I mean, it literally, your car is giving you a heads up. You're too close. You're about to run into something. I cannot believe that this helicopter did not have the same thing unless that just malfunctioned. And again, those are questions I pray we get to the answer to. But I think the overarching problem to me tonight, and I think that's what bugs me as well, and what I believe Josh Hawley is saying, and I agree with him, if warnings were ignored, then somebody needs to pay for that. Because we got 67 people dead because warnings were ignored. And that's sad. And that's what happens all the time in these tragedies. We find out later. And, if you think about the shootings, if you think about these mass shootings, most mass shootings in this country, folks, we find out later these people were on watch lists. We found out later that the FBI was watching these people for mental concerns, for dangerous threats to society, but nothing was done about them. And then they go out and kill 40 people or 50 or 100 people with guns. And all of a sudden, well, we didn't understand. We thought we saw them on the watch list, but we didn't do nothing about it. That's our country tonight. And that frustrates the hell out of me, and it should frustrate you. And I think that's why Trump's in office. I think that we're just tired, and I think that he's going to put an end to this stuff. I do. Because he's cleaning house. I can tell you that. He's cleaning house. This is Josh Hawley about Kash Patel. This is interesting. And I'll let Josh do the talking. Roll the tape.
So it looks like he'll be confirmed. Tell me about Tulsi and RFK Jr. What are your colleagues on the Republican side thinking here?
Well, I hope that they're listening carefully to what both nominees said. I got to talk to RFK today under oath at the hearing. I thought he did spectacularly. He was honest. He was direct. He was forthright. As for Tulsi Gabbard, here's her real sin, Jesse, in the eyes of so many of the Washington establishment of both parties. Her sin is she challenged the surveillance state. She told the truth about the government spying on Americans, about the abuses of FISA. She went out there and was honest about it, and for that, she is getting absolutely roasted and persecuted. That's the real issue here, and I hope that Republicans will look at both of these individuals and say, these are truth tellers. These are people who are going to disrupt the status quo, and they're going to get their agencies, the government, back to serving the American people and telling us the truth. Wouldn't that be a refreshing change?
Yes, that would be a refreshing change. This is the former Attorney General of Florida questioning Kash Patel yesterday about the assassination of Donald Trump. Interesting discussion. This may be why the Dems are scared as hell of him, too. Roll the tape.
Second assassination attempt, which took place in the state of Florida against a Florida resident, now President Donald Trump. Many people were surprised that that could happen in just over 2 months. Many people were shocked that a would-be assassin could get that close to a president after it had just happened so quickly. So needless to say, many Americans, and certainly Floridians, demanded a transparent and accountable investigation of that second assassination attempt. I was tasked, along with law enforcement in Florida, to pursue that investigation. And every step of the way, federal law enforcement, the FBI specifically, and the attorneys, federal attorneys, frustrated our efforts, told us we couldn't go on the crime scene, they wouldn't share evidence, they suggested that we would be violating the law if we pursued our own investigation, even in the face of us telling them and informing them that a 6-year-old girl almost died as a result of state and local law enforcement having to shut down the roads to pursue that would-be assassin. And I'm not going to use his name. In an unprecedented action,
Listen to this.
because of these frustrated efforts, I, as the Attorney General of Florida, had to sue the DOJ and Merrick Garland because they refused and obstructed our ability to prosecute and investigate our own laws against one of our own citizens, even in the face of such distrust.
Unbelievable. And she's had to sue Merrick Garland over this. Somebody needs to pay a price for this. Not Moody. Moody, by the way, if you don't know who that is, she is the replacement for Matt Gaetz. And that's the one that DeSantis picked, and I think it's a good pick. She was his attorney general there in Florida. And Kash Patel knows where the bodies are at, folks. He knows what was behind this. He was one of the lead investigators and back in the early 2000s, and I think that he's the man. And look, we talked about this last night. I'm not going to beat a dead horse to death. There are some things Kash needs to answer as it relates to Steve Peters, but for the most part, he's got my support. I do believe that the Dems are scared of him, and anytime the Dems are scared of somebody, I'm all for him. If the Dems are shaking in their boots about something that's about to happen, good. It's a good day in America. If the Dems don't want him, Chris wants him double. If the Dems say they're evil, they're good. And if the rhinos tell you how bad they are, that's who you need. Because that's what they've always done to the Trump team and the Trump train, which is rolling down the hill. Several things left to go. This is Pete Buttigieg tonight. And Pete did not leave nothing left to be desired. He's putting the cartels on notice. We're going to blow your asses to smithereens. You keep shooting at our border guards, we're going to blow your asses to kingdom come.
What's happening with DEI? How's that going at the Defense Department?
Well, DEI is not going well at the Defense Department because it's dead. We will, as the president said in his inaugural, we will be merit-based and colorblind, and that is the case at the Defense Department. DEI is going to be ripped out root and branch because we want everyone treated equally with high standards and held accountable with warfighting, lethality, and readiness front and center. We don't have time for emphasizing differences. Jesse, one of the dumbest phrases in military history is our diversity is our strength. Our diversity is not our strength. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. And the Pentagon is excited to get back to that core mission. It's happening rapidly. The services are responding, and those that don't want to respond can work somewhere else. So diversity, equity, inclusion will not be a part of the Defense Department, not a minute long.
It will not be. And here's more about Pete had to say. That was about Greenland. Yes, it was Rubio, Cedric. My apologies, not guess. It was Rubio. Rubio's our Secretary of State. I've just got a million things running through my mind tonight, Cedric. Thank you. It was Rubio. Here's Pete. And that was actually an image. That's what he was saying. He came out tonight and he says one of the dumbest phrases in military history is our diversity is our strength. Our diversity is not our strength. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. There is a video out tonight, and I should have downloaded. I thought I did. I'll find it after I'm off the program. There it is right there. I thought it was. But he basically put the cartels on notice tonight that if they do not stop doing what they're doing, and they're not going to stop, so this is probably going to happen, the cavalry's coming. The cavalry is coming. And the U.S. cavalry and the all options, as he said, are on the table. Let me tell you something. Under a Joe Biden administration or under an Obama administration, that would mean that you'd have a pride parade. In this case, under Trump, that means that we're going to blow you back into Guatemala. You keep this mess up. These cartels need to be put on notice tonight. You got a new sheriff in town. You don't have Joe Biden. You don't have Lloyd Johnson. You don't have Peter Mayorkas as the head of agencies that we should have had men instead of women in men's clothes running. So let me just be a little in a Friday night mood tonight. I would be sleeping with one eye open if you're the cartel tonight. I hope you hear me. Because I believe Pete means what he says. And I believe that's exactly what's going to happen if you keep doing what you're doing.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary. It was Rubio. My apologies, folks. It was Marco Rubio. That's who he picked. Moody. Good gal. Good gal. It was Rubio tonight. I misspoke there. Not the first time Chris has done that. Not on purpose. Here is J.D. Vance today. This was him with Hannity last night talking about the news cycle and different things going on in the White House. Roll the tape.
I actually think that we are looking very seriously about which reporters show up, because if you're a reporter, even if you're biased towards the left, absolutely we want to answer your questions. If you're a propagandist for the Democratic Party, then we're going to treat you like a propagandist for the Democratic Party. And one of the things that I think we've already done, again, we're only 8 days into this thing, is it's not just who's not there, it's also who is present. And Karoline had a lot of new media folks, a lot of young people who represent, I think, the vanguard of news media in this country. She gave Matt Boyle from Breitbart a question yesterday. These are actually some of the people who are driving news in 2025 in America. And I think, frankly, the MSNBCs, the CNNs of the world, they should take the hint. Your viewership is way down. Your ratings are abysmal. Why is it that especially young people are tuning into new media? Maybe it's because instead of engaging in propaganda, the new media is asking real questions. I mean, Joe Rogan, one of the biggest voices in American media now, he was a Bernie bro 8 years ago. This is not like some crazy right-wing guy. This is just a person who's asking questions. And unfortunately, most of the old media, they're just not interested in that.
And that's great. We did put our name in to the hat. I haven't heard nothing back yet. I don't want this Southerner up there. This Southerner. Oh, this Southern redneck probably wouldn't fit in too good with all those elites up there. But that's all right. We tried. We did fill out the application. And I told him, I said, we'd have a blast. We'd have a blast. Now, if they're watching, I just pray they're not seeing this.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
But that's okay if they are. We are who we are, and if we get in the White House press pool, you will be the first to know. Of course, Chris will be dressed in a suit and a tie and look presentable to everybody, and not have the dumb foolery shirt on. But anyway, I'm just saying.
My dear Watson.
And I will not. I promise. I will not be saying this to President Trump.
That's just stupid dumb foolery.
We will not be doing that. And we won't be doing this, Jenny Castellanova.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
We won't be doing that. We won't be doing that. But we have tried. We have tried, and so forth. All right, hey, you got to love Planned Parenthood. Guess what? They're ticked off tonight. You know why they're ticked off? That Trump pardoned the protesters at their clinics, and this was their statement today. I'm not making this up. This is right off of the life.com website. Planned Parenthood condemns the Trump pardons of the pro-life Americans, saying that the praying in front of the clinics were violence. Go figure. Now, if you don't think that's rich, that's rich. Not the slaughtering of babies, mind you. Not the cutting off of parts and selling them on freaking eBay like a Monopoly game. Not chopping babies' heads off after they're born and strangling them and making them freeze and starve to death on a table if they're post-abortion, like if the abortion fails and the baby comes forth, actually fully comes through, the mama says, I don't want it. They just leave the baby on a table and let it starve to death and freeze to death. That's not violence. According to these evil bastards, praying is violence. Praying is violence. You cannot make, as my friend Jason Miller says, you cannot make this stuff up. That is an actual story tonight in life.com. We've got it on our Telegram website. Telegram website. Isn't that rich? By the way, please don't tell RFK that I was drinking a Coke Zero, because I don't want him to come down here and take it from me. But this is a little funny meme. This is probably what he was thinking yesterday. By the way, That is, I'm going to freeze that right there, and I'm going to back that up. He basically called Bernie out, for most of you that know, for the money that Bernie was getting from the big pharma. $1,953,613. Raphael Warnock, who, by the way, another rich individual, not in the term of money, he was out there saying that all Trump's executive orders are illegal. Sure thing, Raphael. By the way, Raphael, I'm from Georgia, and I'm just putting you on notice tonight. Our state's going to go back fully red, brother. You better enjoy the next 24 months because that seat of yours is going back red. And if this network has anything to do with it, we're going to go down there and campaign against your opponent, or for your opponent, I should say. And we're going to make sure our every living, waking moment is going to make sure that you do not see Congress again. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean through the political process. Because you have been bad for Georgia. And I don't know what got into my Georgia homies down there for putting your sorry carcass in that seat. But you've made a $1.7 million overhaul for Big Pharma, and then you say that Trump's executive orders are illegal. Wow. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, 1.2. Ron Wyden, all of these people that were trashing Kennedy yesterday, 1.2 million. Michael Bennett, another piece of work in Colorado, $730,000. Catherine Masto in Nevada. Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire. Ben Ray Lejeune in New Mexico. Sheldon Whitehouse. He was the one that made the big deal about Brett Kavanaugh's yearbook back in the day when Christine Bosley Ford was slandering him and lying about him through her freaking teeth, and nothing ever happened to her. Man, I wish Pam Bondi would reopen that little can of worms. At 351, the numbers go down. I do not see one Republican on that list. I am sure there are some Republicans that have taken money from Big Pharma. But, again, you ain't got to agree with Kennedy's stance on anything else. But I tell you what, him cleaning up this health situation in our country and taking down Big Pharma, I'm all for it. They're killing us, folks, with the pills. I can tell you this. I have never, my life, most of you know as host of this network, what I've been through over the last 5 years, and 21 was a year that I'm fortunate. Every day I get on this network and breathing, I think about 2021, and I just thank God that I'm alive, honestly. I never had seen the medical community, because up until 21, I'd really not been that sick. And that year was the year I got COVID, had the heart issue. I was prodded with needles and blood tests and blood work, and the doctors, after this event, they were bombarding me with, you got to take this pill and this pill and that pill and that pill. I've never seen anything like it. If I blink my eye wrong, my doctor, who I love Dr. Hall, but me and him don't see eye to eye on a lot of things sometimes. And he's like, I need to prescribe something for you. And I don't take it. I'm not going to take a pill for blinking my eye wrong. But that's the doctors. And I've had a talk with him about this. Big Pharma is the puppet masters. And I pray RFK does what he's promised he's going to do. He's going to take them down. I'm all for that. I think we can say an amen to that tonight. I think we can say an amen to that.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary, my dear Watson. I'm almost done. By the way, Monday night, we're going to try to get somebody on to talk about this. Brad Johnson's going to talk about this with me. But there's been a butt cleaning and a house cleaning at the FBI. 23 FBI special agents are gone tonight, and the head of the Washington Bureau of the FBI has been let go. Trump told 2 million federal workers this week, you got to February the 5th, you can take my severance package, or you're going to have to go work at Wendy's. Adios, amigo. And a lot of these people were working at their homes. They don't want to come into the office. They don't want to work but 1 day a week. That's going to end. That's going to stop. I saw a report today by Elon Musk. I don't know how accurate it is, but I tend to believe it is, that just in the first 2 weeks alone, what President Trump has done has nearly cut our deficit by $1 trillion with some of the things that he has stopped money going to. $1 trillion, folks. That's incredible. He's not going to solve it all next week and next month, but we are on the right path of getting this country back on a fiscal responsibility and firing these federal workers that are do-nothing freeloaders off of our government to start. And another thing that he's done, he has told, there was a report that he told and all these stories are on our Telegram room, but one of the organizations tonight, he's basically told the USDA to remove all the climate change propaganda on their website by the end of the day today. That's going to stop this climate change crap. Leavitt today announced new arrest of criminal illegal aliens and sex offenders. The media is upset about that. The Democrats are upset about it. And as I said, folks, if the Democrats are upset about something, it's amazing what they get upset about. They're upset about that. They're upset that we're arresting all these people that are raping, murdering, pillaging, killing, maiming, and doing all sorts of bad things to our country. And that's why their ratings are at the lowest level, they said, in 50 years. Their approval rating tonight is the lowest in history. No-class Democrats. And I'm saving the best for last. He is facing a little bit of, there's a couple of things. The judges, one Obama judge and one Clinton judge, one blocked his executive order. Basically, and this is the other thing, this perversion, there's two genders. There's not going to be any of this pronoun stuff. He's told the agencies, you're not going to use pronouns on your website anymore. Get that crap off. And you know, he signed an order, and we've not talked about this, but we are. We've got Alice Linehan coming, and we got Carla Nicole coming soon. Probably going to deal with this with Carla. But something that Trump did, and I'm about to get to you tonight. We're going to get to your questions here in just a second. But one of the things that Trump did, he stopped and he put an end to federally funded child genital mutilations. And he's basically putting these scandalous, demonic doctors and these demonic people that are doing this stuff on notice. We're coming for you. My Justice Department's coming for you. You're not going to do it with our taxpayer dollars anymore. And we're going to put a stop to it. One of the things I heard Kash Patel say yesterday, day before, that the trafficking, the sex abuse of our kids, the pedophilia is going to stop. Now, the Democrats don't think that's a good thing. Well, that's why, again, their approval ratings are worse than Hillary Clinton at a Republican National Convention. If the Democrats think it's bad, it's good for the country. It's good for the country. It's good for the country. Elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary. Trump's cleaning house. The Trump train is still a-rolling. A couple of other things, and I'm going to get to you tonight. They blocked his federal spending freeze for 22 states. I mentioned the judge. The Clinton judge blocked. This is how sick these judges are. Trump also had signed an executive order that a male who had transgendered to a female and was basically being put in a female prison even though he was a male, Trump put an executive order that they're going to be put in a men's prison where they belong because they're a guy. Well, this Clinton judge tonight said that's unconstitutional and that's inhumane. Oh, really? So, I'm sure that the DOJ will appeal that, and it will take time, but that is the next phase of attack by the Dems. They're going to use these liberal puke judges to try to stop some of these executive orders. I'm speaking to Congress now. That's why this stuff needs to be put into law. You've got to capsule these executive orders into law and do it yesterday. Because once it's law, it's going to be harder for these judges to do what they're trying to do. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
And to the judge that said that sticking a man in a man's prison is inhumane, I got something for you too tonight.
That's just stupid dumb foolery.
Just stupid dumb foolery. Now, the next segment, before I get to your questions, I'm going to give you a language warning. This don't bother me a bit, but some of you, it might bother your virgin ears. It's President Trump speaking. And if you've got a problem with language, put your hands over your ears, just like that. Okay? This clip's going to last about 30 seconds. But I want to play you what he had to say about Pete Buttigieg yesterday. It was priceless. And it got the media all upset, and I'll explain why. Here's President Trump on the former Secretary of Transportation, who he's pretty much laying the blame at about some of this crap that went down in D.C. Wednesday night. Roll the tape.
Which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg. A real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit.
Only the Trump train, only the Trump Express can do that and get away with it. I salute him. All I would have to say, if I was sitting in the media press room and he said, McDonald, what do you think about that? This is what I would say.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. That's elementary, Mr. President. Now, to show you how bored the media is, this is James Rosen. I used to like James Rosen, but I could not believe that he would ask Karoline Leavitt this today. Watch the media's response to what you just heard. This is how nutcase our media's gotten. Watch this.
I think one of the things that the American people love most about this president is that he often says what they are thinking, but sometimes lack the courage to say themselves. And I think yesterday at this podium, you heard President Trump express great frustration, perhaps even anger, with the previous administration's policies, many of which have led to the crises that our country is currently facing and that this president is focused on fixing.
Yeah, and I thought that was James Rosen. Maybe it's this video. That was her response to Rosen. Yeah, Rosen's head sticking up there.
I also would just like to point out that several years ago when I was working in
Hang on, that's something else right there. I'm going to play that about COVID. Maybe it's this video here. I was hoping to get Rosen's question to her. It's just,
and without seeking to cast myself.
Here it is. Here it is.
Because it's rather late in the day to try. Nonetheless, this was an event yesterday that began with a moment of silence.
This is Rosen.
For the victims of the air crash and the president's own invocation of, quote, a loving God. And then he uncorked that expletive to insult a former cabinet officer. It was the same expletive that I saw him use in East Room in 2020 when he famously held up the Trump acquitted headline. My question is, if you could shed any light for us on how the president perceives his use of public profanity, which is a practice that certainly sets him apart from all of his predecessors. Does he regard it as an effective communications device, part of his appeal, or is it something that he lapses into inadvertently, perhaps in times of frustration and later regrets?
I think one of the things that the American people love most about this president is that he often says what they are thinking, but sometimes lack the courage to say themselves. And I think yesterday at this podium, you heard President Trump express great frustration, perhaps even anger, with the previous administration's policies, many of which have led to the crises that our country is currently facing and that this president is focused on fixing. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much. Rosen should know better. Rosen should know better. He used to work with Fox. Why? Who cares, James? So what? So what? Let me tell you this. I would rather have a president that says the previous administration's full of BS than spend 1 second more listening to the babble and the woke bullshit of what we just came through for 4 years. I mean that. Give me Trump any day. Give me the Trump Express. By the way, I'm going to deal with this next week. I don't have time to deal with it tonight. But I found this clip tonight. It was interesting. Benny Johnson, great ex-guy. Media just don't know what's hitting them right now. They just don't know what to do. This lady here, Karoline Leavitt, I have to say, I've seen a lot of press secretaries on the Republican side. Of course, the Democrats bring their lawyers out. She is the best press secretary we've ever had, other than Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I thought Sarah did a decent job, but not even a candle can she hold to Karoline Leavitt, the way she commands that room. She basically laid bare the COVID lie today. She let the media know to their face, that Trump was right about it being started in that Wuhan Chinese lab. Roll the tape.
I also would just like to point out that several years ago when I was working in this press shop and President Trump would take to this podium to brief the American people on COVID-19, he suggested that COVID very well may have came from a lab in Wuhan, China. And many members in this very room mocked him for that, said he was spewing conspiracy theories. He was not. We now know that to be the confirmable truth. It took many years for it to come out, but the president was right in this instance again. Sure.
He's always been right, folks. We're going to talk about this next week. We got a lot to talk about next week. We got a lot to talk about. I'm disappointed in Rosen. Wrote James, get a life, okay? Get a life. Get a life. Now, we've been pretty serious tonight. We've had a lot of serious news. We've had a lot of, I hate to say bad news we've had to report this week. We've had a mid-air crash. We've had this plane crash in Philly tonight. I got something at least to go out of here with a little smile about. This is all for you dog owners. There's hope in the world. And I want you to watch this. And all of you will get a kick out of this that have dogs. And see if I can find it and not play the wrong video here. By the way, one other quick thing. I should show you this, actually. I should show you this. This is another sign of the Trump effect. This chick right here is been arrested tonight from UCLA. She was leading the Hamas protest. We have not talked about Israel. We're going to dedicate a show next week to Israel. There's a lot of news about the hostages and things that we've really not been able to deal with because of news here in the country. Not forgot about it. And follow us on Telegram. This is a sign of other things to come. And if I was the students on these campuses doing this crap, let me put you on notice. You better be getting your bags packed because your visas are about to be revoked and you're about to be going back to China like this young lady is right here. This is her tonight. That young lady was arrested at UCLA. They're taking her away. And she was Jonathan Hunt. You can't hear the video. They got the audio way too low. But she was a Chinese national that was actually leading the protest on the campus of UCLA. She will not be doing that anymore. She will be eating egg rolls back in Shanghai. And good for them. Good for them. All righty, let me see. I want to find my dog video tonight. This is going to make you feel good. This will give us something to at least smile about on a week that we've not had much to smile about. All you dog owners, there's hope. There's hope. Roll the tape.
Django. Django. Hey, buddy. You hungry? You are, sleepyhead. You are. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. You want to eat? You hungry? Are you hungry? Yeah? Okay. Well, come here. I tell you what. Come say grace. Come say grace. Dear Lord, say grace. Dear Lord, thank you for this day and everything you've given us. Thank you for allowing us to be the man and puppy that you've allowed us to be. Father, thank you for our friends and family, their prayers and support and energy that they give us. Father, just guide and guard and watch over them as they go through the days ahead. Father, I do ask a special prayer that you help me to not chase the neighbor's cat and to listen to my master whenever he asks me to do something. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen. Amen.
What can we say? What can we say? Is that not a great dog or what? That's a great dog. That's a great dog. And that's the dog who prays. And I'm praying that dog prays for our country. Because God knows we need it in this land tonight. God knows we need it. We humans need the prayer, doggy. I don't know who you are. But please pray for McDonald. Please pray for McDonald. That's all I got to say.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary, my dear Watson. All right, I've run my mouth enough. We got 15 minutes. We got 15 minutes. All righty. Roll with your questions and your comments. I do want to read a couple of things off of, let's see here. Let me mute my tab. I'm going to go back over to Facebook. We got a few comments that we had a while ago. I do want to say that Joan says we've had 2 deaths caused by illegals in the past 2 weeks in a smallish community. I don't doubt that, Joan, but that's going to get fixed. That's going to get fixed, and so forth. Sue, you said Black Hawk helicopters are equipped with superior instruments with sonar that can pick up aircraft behind them, below them, and ahead of them. And that is sort of what we were saying tonight. And I just, again, that's where this investigation probably is really looking at, is why that didn't work. Because I totally agree with that sentiment. And it does have, our cars have it. And, you know, when you're backing out, I got a Tahoe, and when I'm backing out, if there's even a car within 100 feet of me to the left or to the right, I get a notification that there's something coming at me from the left and right. If there's a car within 50 feet of me in the front and I'm getting too close, my car vibrates. It shakes, letting me know that I'm about to collide with something. I cannot believe that this helicopter did not have something. This is an Army Black Hawk helicopter. So your statement is correct, and I guess that's where this investigation is going to have to take us. You know, we don't know. Again, and I do want to echo the sentiment. I think Dennis said it, Roger said it, some others, that it's too early to speculate. And folks, we're not trying to speculate. I'm just asking a simple question. Did you think it was deliberate? And I think that answer is a fair answer. I think that none of us know this. I certainly am not telling you it's deliberate. I'm just asking a question. There's a lot of questions about this. A lot of questions. And we're going to get to the poll results in a minute. Anyway. Cute dog, Joan says, but you've never met my cat. Joan, cats are the devil. That's all I got to say. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No, they're not. No, they're not. All right. Everybody's talking about the dog. If you got a question about the show tonight, anything you want to say, speak now. Forever hold your peace. It's amazing. We hear people talk all the time while I'm talking. The second I stop talking, nobody wants to talk. Bob Johnson says Trump used that language to show us the people that he is dead serious. Bob, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I think that, you know, he can say what he wants to say. Look, it's what Karoline Leavitt said. It's what we're all thinking. I mean, we were thinking that. I mean, I was thinking worse than that, to be frank with you. And look, we don't condone bad language, folks, and all, and Lord's dealing with me about even the way I say things and stuff. But look, I think there's frustration in this country. I think can I ask y'all a question tonight? Has there not been just a breath of fresh air for the last 2 weeks in this country? Do you feel it? I feel it. I felt it when I was in D.C. That we got a leader, and he's putting things back in order the way they should be. And this, telling the USDA, stick your freaking climate change up your butt, get it off the website, take the pronouns off your website, take your nonsense off. We're going to fire the FBI, these people that wrongly charged these J6ers that went after Trump. He's cleaning house. I don't think any of us, folks, cannot feel this breath of fresh air. I do. It's felt good. It's been a good 10 days in this country to me. It's been a good 10 days in this country to me. That's all I got to say. It's been a real good 10 days. And we've had a record crowd tonight in X. Again, good to see you guys over in X. I wish we had ways to take your questions, but good to see everybody. Man, we got a big crowd. We got a big crowd in YouTube tonight. And good to see everybody. My goodness. Bob, we do need a good cleaning of the Justice Department. Pam Bondi's going to do that. Cynthia, you say they hope to do something about the post office. Cynthia, I would just be happy if they brought stamps down back to a dime a piece like they used to be. I don't care. I mean, I'm with you, but I just want the stamps not to keep being $1. $1.25 a pop. It's tough when you're doing bulk mailing. But I'm with you on there. There needs to be reform across the board. There needs to be reform. All right, you got 10 minutes, folks. I'm telling you, you got 10 minutes. We're going to be out of here. It's late Friday night. Roxanne Bureau, God bless, from Long Island, New York. Roxanne, good to see you. Good to see you. We were in Long Island back in November. God bless you New Yorkers up there. John Matola, I guarantee you, John Matola is somewhere laughing at Trump tonight. John's always told me that Trump he's just a New Yorker. That's how all you New Yorkers talk. And I don't doubt it. I've met some of you. And that's why we Southerners and you New Yorkers get along, because we talk the same way. The only difference is you New Yorkers just do it a little bit more meaner than we do. We sit on the front porch and drink a glass of tea with you before we say stuff like that. You New Yorkers just look at us in the face and call us a bunch of rednecks down here. That's why we love y'all. We understand you. And that's why I understand Trump. But John tells me all the time, he says, we New Yorkers get Trump. He said, I don't know where people get it. We don't get him. He said, we get him. We get him up here. He's one of us. And that's what we love about him. But he's done a good job, folks. All jokes aside tonight, look, I think it's been the best 10 days that this country's had in 50 years. Honestly, I have. But it's got, the only way this sticks is that Congress do its job. And a lot of these things that he's doing, they need to capsule into law, or these judges are going to keep doing what they're doing tonight. That's going to be a challenge. And I pray Johnson is listening, and I pray John Thune is listening. Geraldine, what do I think about the Panama Canal situation? I think that Panama Canal belongs to America. That's what I believe. I think Jimmy Carter was one of the most, among many stupid decisions of the late Jimmy Carter. That was a stupid decision. And I think that, to be frank with you, I don't have figures for this, but the cartels and these illegal aliens have used that canal to come across, and it's been used to hurt America. China's used it. Trump even brought that up, that China's using that canal to take advantage of our country. And it's time that we, look, the way I look at it, and I said this the night he got elected when we had that great election show. Man, we had a good time that night with Leslie and James and Eric and Magdalene. Best panel we've ever had, honestly. It was really good. Look, Trump ain't got nothing to lose right now. And what do I think about it? If he can get it back, go for it. Because he's a lame duck. And so, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with what we're trying to do to get it back. It's being used to take advantage of our country. It's been used for, what, 74, that 75, 70, charter was 77. He did that in 78, didn't he, or somewhere in that time frame, 79. So that's been 40-plus years, going on 50 years that they've used this. It's time. It's time to get it back. It's ours. It's ours. It was not Carter's to give away, but he did it. Anyway, Swami, you saying they're delaying Bondi's confirmation as long as possible? Well, let them, Swami. Look, these Democrats don't realize the more they do this stuff, their approval ratings are going to go further down the toilet. Let them do it. They can't delay it forever. And, you know, there are mechanisms in place. The Republicans can, you know, basically do the nuclear option and just call the vote and not screw these Democrats. Look, I'm just tired of this mess. I'm tired of this game playing, and they're not going to delay it much longer. Look, we've waited this long, and, you know, I think that we talked about this last night. The events of the past 48 to 72 hours show us why a full cabinet needs to be in place the day of inauguration. I hope that somebody in Congress passes a law. This would stop a lot of this. They need to pass a law that says it is a law that a president's cabinet be in place by January the 20th, period. And that it is the Congress's duty to approve these cabinet members before that president takes office. Because we've got 2.5 months between November and January. This could have been done thanks to Mitch the crap McConnell. He's put a stop to it. He stood in the way of it because they didn't have the votes without him before January the 1st. And then by January the 1st, they only had 20 days. This could have all been done and handled quickly. So let him do it, Swami. I just think, look, you know, when somebody's blowing themselves to pieces and they're destroying your country, let them blow themselves to pieces. I'm just sitting back laughing about all this. I've been having as I said, it's like a breath of fresh air these last 10 days. It's just like a breath of fresh air. And the Trump train is rolling, and I got no sympathy for these Dems. This Hakeem Jeffries that are claiming that we're going to take the fight to Trump in the streets. What would have happened if President Trump and some of his supporters would have said that about Joe Biden, that we're going to take to the streets to take the fight to Joe Biden? We would have been in jail. They would have come knocking on my door if I'd have said that on my show. They'd have been knocking on my door and saying, you're making threats against the president. Hakeem Jeffries is the freaking Democrat leader of the House of Representatives, but yet he can say it and nothing happens to him. Always a double standard. That too is about to end. That's why they're delaying Pam Bondi. Because under her Justice Department, Swami, that ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. Anyway. And Roxanne, that's what Democrats do. But Roxanne, I'm going to say this about the Republicans. I'm not going to let the Republicans off the hook. Republicans could put a stop to this crap. They could put a stop to it. Look, they got the power. Call the vote. Call the vote. Do it. So, I'm not going to disagree with you. But the Republicans are partly to blame. Because it's just theater. They just want theater. And anyway. All right, almost done. We got 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Geraldine, I disagree. He has got, I think he's got the votes. I think Kennedy gets in. I'm more worried about Gabbard than Kennedy. I think he's got it. I think that's just media talk. Well, I will say this, Geraldine, about that. Don't listen to the mainstream media, including Fox, and all these outlets that are claiming the Republicans are leaning this way or not leaning that way. Baloney. Baloney. I believe that from what I've seen, and listening to Josh Hawley last night, Hawley pretty much is saying that Gabbard's the only one that they're concerned about. They got the votes for Kennedy. They got the votes for Patel. They definitely got the votes for Bondi. And you think about those three people I just named, most important offices, the FBI, the Attorney General, and the health situation, I would say Gabbard, the Department of National Intelligence. Look, I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard pass I can throw her. But Trump sees something in her that he wants in that office. And I think J.D. Vance said it beautifully the other night. The Republicans are trying to come to the middle, deal with some Democrats, because Robert Kennedy's not going to agree with everything Trump does. Neither will Gabbard. And I think that sometimes that's not a bad thing. It's good that you have people in your cabinet that are not going to be yes men and yes women, and they give you an alternative view to tell you things you may not want to hear, but you need to hear. And I think that's what's been missing in our government for half a century. All these presidents have surrounded themselves with these yes people, and there's been nobody to push back. And pushing back don't mean that you betray the president. You still go with what he decides, but you at least give him a second opinion and another viewpoint that at least looks at things from a different perspective. That's a healthy discussion. My dad and I did that a lot when he was living. If you hung around us McDonald's, that's what we do. We have healthy discussions. We have healthy discussions in our house. That's for sure. That's all I got to say.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. So anyway, I believe he's got the votes myself, Geraldine. I'm not worried about Kennedy. I'm not so sure about what's her name though, Gabbard. That I'm not so sure about. We'll see. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see what our Facebook folks. Elaine, quit giving the Dems what they want in vote. I'll agree with that. Well, Roger, I don't care about Pence. I've heard that he's working against the RFK. Who cares about Mike Pence? I wish Mike Pence would go off into the woodwork. He couldn't get elected to the janitorship at the Holiday Inn right now. I mean, as bad a team as the Carolina Panthers are, or a baddest team as the Jacksonville Jaguars are right now, no offense to you Jaguar and Panther fans, as bad a team as the New England Patriots are, he couldn't get a job as the janitor of the New England Patriots right now, who's going to have the first-round pick, the Giants, I should say, not the Patriots, but the Giants. He couldn't get a job as the janitor of the Giants, brother. I don't care what Mike Pence says. I just don't. There were prophets predicting he was going to be the next president of the United States. But, of course, these same prophets were claiming that Santa Claus is running around heaven. So that's why we don't listen to stupid prophets. And I'm not calling the prophetic community stupid. I'm just calling certain people in that movement stupid and claiming they're hearing from God. I wished I had time. I'm going to deal with this Monday night, because Monday night we tend to deal with spiritual matters. I'm going to read you something from Charlie Shamp that I thought was perfect. Don't have it tonight, but I'm going to save it for Monday night. I thought Charlie Shamp addressed this as good as anybody did today on his X page, when he basically told these prophets to get some mental help. That was basically taking advantage of this situation that happened Wednesday night for their own personal gain and their personal exposure. They do need mental help. Pence ain't going to be president at any time. Pence couldn't get a janitorship, as I said, at Motel 6. Elaine, your question says, why can't we, the people, vote for Trump's administration? Well, we did vote for it, Elaine. We voted for it in November. And that's what I said last night. I wish they just, these confirmation hearings, in a real world, when the Democrats are elected, they get their choices. Republicans never stand in the way of the Dems. It's only when a Republican president comes in that the Dems pull this crap, and the Republicans let them. We, the people, have already voted for that administration. The way I look at it, I may not personally agree with everything Robert Kennedy says, but if Trump wants him, I'm okay with that. I don't like Tulsi Gabbard. James does, and that's fine. James R. don't. And it's not that I dislike her to the point that I'm going to be heartbroken if she gets in. I just don't trust her. But that's Trump's choice. And if that's Trump's choice, I'm okay with that. Because when I voted for him in November, I voted for whatever he decided to do. I'm going to be okay with that. He's my president. So we did vote. We did vote, friend. Good to see you tonight. All right, 3 minutes. Any other questions? All right, now we had an interesting poll tonight, 137 votes. And for the first time, we actually had a lower percentage that agreed. Do you think this was deliberate? 74% of you said yes, interesting. 26% said no. I'm going to end that poll tonight. And I think that the sentiment tonight, and I want to leave you with this, folks, we're not saying it was deliberate. Please do not go out of here and say McDonald was on his show Friday night claiming this was a deliberate act. I am not saying that. There are a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. More questions than answers. And I pray for Sean Duffy tonight. He's got his hands full. He's got 2 crashes now to deal with in less than 48 hours. Sad. I just pray they get to the bottom of it. I have faith that this administration will be transparent with us. I'm with Dinesh D'Souza. I wonder why they've not released the name of that helicopter pilot. They need to. We've heard everybody on that airline has been identified, to my knowledge. Helicopter has not. That's the key to me. The helicopter's the key. The helicopter ran into the plane. And I keep seeing this all over the media. The plane hit the helicopter. I don't agree with that sentiment. I believe the helicopter hit the plane. And this thing in Philadelphia tonight is just weird. They were headed to Missouri, and evidently they must have had some kind of mechanical failure. It was a medical situation. It was a medical jet. And that, too, it's got a lot of questions around it tonight. We'll get to the bottom of it next week. And if the world starts trying to end tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow. But if it's not, have a good weekend. Enjoy some time with your family. I will remind you, if you're faith-based kind of folks, join us on the Now Network tomorrow night. We have our initial show as we launch a outreach of our faith network on the Now Network called the Sword of the Spirit broadcast, 9:30 Eastern. And 55.5 million people going to be watching tomorrow night. We're excited about that. It's going to be a great outreach, and I'm expecting a lot of fruit to come of it. And join us back here on the news side Monday. We'll see you on the faith side Sunday morning and Sunday night, our Sunday morning meeting time program and Sunday night Bible studies. And then we'll see you back here Monday night for Monday Night Smack, right here. We're going to talk about some things, and we may have a guest Monday night. I'm sort of thinking of somebody in the wings, and hopefully they can come on. Be a good guy to talk to. Listen, hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. If you did, put some fire in that house for me. Jeannie Castellanova, I know you're out there. I always got to play this just for you because she loves this right here.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I promise, if the Trump people are listening, I will not ever say something like that in the press room if you'll put me in your press corps.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
And I will not say this either.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Well, I will say that. I won't say this.
That's just stupid, dumb foolery.
I will not say that. Chris will be the best media person you've ever had in that room. I won't even wear the cowboy hat. I will not wear the bear hat. I'll be on my best behavior. I promise. I'll try to be. The Southern redneck would be honored being at White House press corps. We love you guys tonight. X, thank you. Great audience tonight. Facebook, thank you. Great audience tonight. YouTube, thank you. Rumble, thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. Pray for your country. I mean that. That part I'm being serious about tonight. It's been a rough week, folks, and we've had 10 days of turmoil. It's been a mix. Trump has done a great thing in 10 days, but the country itself has been in a great shaking. Pray for each other out there. Have each other's back. Love each other. And know we love you. That's why we do this. Doing it for 7 years. We love what we do. We love coming on every night talking to you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope we made you laugh a little bit. Made you think. And we'll keep you posted on what's going on in D.C. and other parts of the world. We're going to talk about Israel next week and some other things. Please be with us next week for another week of McFiles. January has come and gone. Be safe out there, okay? May the Lord bless you. Have a good night, everybody. See you next week. Good night.